Lindsay McLachlan of New Zealand is the referee. Alain Penot will start the game for France.
Well, greetings to all tonight, and especially to you, Lindsay. I'm so pleased to see you recognised as the recipient of the Otago Rugby Referees Supreme Award for 2015. Many congratulations and a well-deserved accolade. By my reckoning, mate, it's about 30 years exactly since you and I made our first-class debuts. Lindsay, I'd have loved to have been there tonight, buddy, to celebrate with you and the others, but alas, I wasn't invited, so hence this video message. It's fair to say that refereeing isn't an easy business, we all know that, and we know that at the top level there isn't any place to hide. So I know we both had our blips in our careers. Interestingly enough, I think it was for both of us around the 94 and 95 seasons. Obviously me with Otago, and once the applause has died down, you in Scotland and England in 94. The old adage of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger certainly applies to the referee role. And I do note that referees, both before and after us, have had similarly to endure at times extreme and often unfair scrutiny. So I know that we both know that's the nature of the game. Of course, for me, an ardent Otago and Highlanders supporter, and again I'll wait till the applause has died down, always was. I recall many fond memories of epic encounters at Carisbrook with you, and often with your late mum and dad, and they were obviously at the game, at the gate at the start of the game, and obviously in the supporters club after the game, and so I have very fond memories of those times. Over the years, of course, it's fair to say the Otago folk have had me on their minds, but I'm now assured that with the passage of time, they have me in their hearts. Lindsay, you and I started our first class reffing at about the same time, you in 1985, me in 1983, and I fondly recall us meeting in Wellington with the then New Zealand Rugby Football Union manager Graham Harrison, who nurtured us young ones through a very exciting time. From memory, you were known as the baby-faced assassin, and in real life you liquidated companies in financial strife. Many New Zealand refs and you and I had a number of trips to Australia in the early 90s to touch judge test matches there, and I vividly recall about 1990, I think, in Ballymore, when we went to touch judge the second test, Australia-France, and Clive Norling was the referee from Wales. The first test had been a very bad-tempered affair, and Clive had been also troubled with a bad back in Brisbane all week, and he had Cameron Lillicrap working on his back, trying to get him right for the game. And I remember us all going to the French change room to do the boots, and the door was locked, and there was a bit of yelling from inside in French, and despite Clive knocking, there was no way we could get in. So anyway, finally Clive managed to get us in, and he instantly took charge and said, "Lindsay, you go over there and do the boots. Colin, you go this way." And strangely enough, it all worked out very well. So after that, you and I think, being the keen young Kiwi blokes, went out and did a fairly good sort of a warm-up out on the back track at Ballymore. Clive stayed in the rest room with Lillicrap still working on his back. Anyway, after a few stretches and stride-outs, we got back to the room, and Clive still looking very worried, both about his back, I think, and what may transpire in the match ahead. Anyway, with about 5 minutes to go to kick off, Clive did his warm-up, which consisted of a couple of arm wraps and a bit of a back stretch, and that was Clive's warm-up for an international Tier 1 test match. Anyway, the match came and went, and I clearly recall on the Sunday morning at the hotel in Brisbane we were due to fly out, and typically the Aussies were very good on pickup when you arrive to do these games, but no arrangements had been made for us to leave. So again, you took charge, Lindsay. No taxi cab for us, No, there was a hotel limo, so you booked that, and it was very flash, and promptly booked it and charged it back to the Australian Rugby Union, and it was the best trip to the airport I've ever had, mate. Anyway, have a great night. My very best wishes for a tremendous evening, and I'm envious that I'm not there and unable to savour some of that Peregrine Pinot Noir, so enjoy. Cheers.
Sign of the ball, get your hands off it, says Lindsay McLachlan. Lindsay McLachlan was the referee then.
Lindsay, congratulations on receiving this honour from the Otago Rugby Referees Association. Achieving Test status as an amateur referee was no mean feat. Family, work and your passion for refereeing all had to be considered. In the late 80s and early 90s, it was difficult to achieve Test status. Training was spasmodic, and there was no such thing as a high-performance referee unit. The jump from NPC to Test refereeing was difficult, and you achieved it with great success. During our time as we worked at a team of 3, I was impressed with your calm and confident approach to your role, whether it be as a referee or as a touch judge. You are very familiar with awards through your wonderful wine label Peregrine, and it's now your opportunity to be able to present your trophy, the Lindsay McLachlan Trophy, to a referee in Otago who gains excellence. Congratulations, and thank you for this opportunity.
The referee, Lindsay McLachlan, officiating in his 6th international. He refereed Australia-Scotland here last year. About to sound time on. And the first of the 4 Test series of '93 gets underway, with the South Africans to defend the Paddington end of the Sydney Football Stadium.
Great work from Bowen, just zeroing in on the ball. Came loose, focused, superb work. There
The scrum now, it's a crucial call. Australia on great attack. Far Jones, will we see Gavin come off the back?
The Africans must keep this scrum up. Whilst it's up, Australia will keep attacking.
Dupria has come offside and shows dissent to the referee. Well, I can tell you that Lindsay McLachlan won't tolerate this. Well, not on his butt, the customary two-handed throw. They're asking for the gap in the line out, and wasn't forthcoming. Coming in the wrong side, Barney Swap. Let's have another opportunity now for Marty Roebuck. Charging run by Gavin Morgan. Coming in over the top, the South Africans. It's Tim Gavin, the man that led the chase.
Didn't he take it up well? He was in the air.
So no fair catch has been claimed.
Look at the drive by the Australians.
They've secured it. Penalty. Hands.
Well, Stransky's had the cheap shot from the back.
There's nearly a move. There's trouble on the far side.
James Small trying to get in for everything and pointing the bone, and David Kemp beats him.
Through the 90 degrees. Stransky has set himself wide on the right. That's where they attack. Far Jones. Back it goes Gavin. And South Africa offside.
Yeah, I first met Lindsay when I was coaching Otago, and he came onto the scene as a senior referee. He looked like a 16-year-old, but pretty quickly made an impression with, I guess, his style of refereeing. He later came on tour with us, as some of the young referees did in those days that were promising, an Otago tour we did in the North Island. And I was very impressed with his demeanour and the manner in which he thought about rugby. I guess the biggest credit that I could give Lindsay, and this is feedback from our players, when he was refereeing, he worked with the players to make a better game. He did not get overreactive or overly excited about anything. His whole philosophy, I feel, on refereeing was about making it a better game of rugby and more enjoyable for the players from both teams.
Every time I look into your loving
The ref would have no idea how that scrum went to the ground. So he does the right thing and hauls him up again. He goes around the other side of the scrum though, just to check on it over there. Richard Lowe and Hollow Brown. Tight hand.
Over. Slight delay, the hands go up. That's a great try.
He took a long time to make the decision, Lindsay McLachlan, and we mightn't see it from here. There were so many jerseys there. Zinzam,
without a doubt, John.
Carter, in he goes, driven over.
Without a doubt.
25, is it 27? Yes it is. 27 points to 9. Waikato leading Auckland at half-time at Eden Park. What's the referee talking to? The touch judge over there has his flag out. Barry Smorridge is talking to Lindsay McLachlan.
This game's got everything.
And there it is. That must be the ball game, surely.
It's with considerable honour and pride that the Otago Rugby Union have asked me to say a few words about Lindsay and the time that we spent together, both nationally within New Zealand and also overseas. Lindsay commenced refereeing in the 1980s at the first class level, and as he made his way up through the ranks, him and I got to know each other pretty well. I suppose that was because we're both southern men, myself down in Southland and Lindsay there in Otago. And it wasn't too long before Lindsay and I were spending quite a number of weekends shooting across the Tasman to Australia. In those days, touch judging and international tests in Australia, the TJs, or ARs as we call them now, were done by New Zealanders, and Lindsay and myself went across on a number of occasions. One thing that we really got going in that time, of course, was the old international tradition of referees, gin and tonics. And that didn't matter whether it was 6:30 in the morning and you still hadn't had your cornies and your fruit on as you flew out of Christchurch. It had to be done, and Lindsay was always a willing participant in that area. Lindsay and I had the privilege, I suppose, in 1992 to go to South Africa. South Africa at that stage for many long years had been in the rugby wilderness, and it was in 1992 that they came back into the international arena, of course, with the first test match against the All Blacks at Johannesburg, and secondly the test the week later, which I was refereeing, between Australia and South Africa. Tell you a wee story about that one actually, because we flew over via Sydney with South African Airways, arriving in Johannesburg in the early hours of one morning, and both Lindsay and I were suffering from very sore backs from probably 20 hours, 24 hours of flying. And the All Black masseuse at the time said, "Righto Bish, I'll fix you, it's not your back at all, it's your glutes." So he got me down on the massage table, got into my legs, did all the real heavy work on me, literally had tears streaming out of my face. I was almost climbing the wall with pain, but sure as hell he fixed my sore back. It was as good as gone. We looked round for Lindsay, he was gone, he had scarpered. You know, Lazarus had nothing on Lindsay, it was a miraculous no way was he ever going to go through what I'd been put through. So, Lindsay, you owe me one on that one. That had to be the biggest refereeing junket trip ever. 2 weeks in South Africa to AR and 1 international test match. Well done, Lindsay. You deserved every minute of it. Now, Lindsay's refereeing career internationally commenced in 1989. And he had 7 internationals right through to his retirement in 1994. During that time, Lindsay displayed all those attributes of international refereeing which we know so well. It probably embodied his professional life as an accountant and a partner in the accountancy firm, McLachlan, of course. And those attributes being he was very precise and very accurate on the paddock, because you've got to be at that level. He had tremendous mental strength. He was a privilege and he was an honour to Otago referees. He carried on from a long tradition where Otago have had referees in the past. I think Dave Miller comes to mind, for example, and previous people prior to him. Lindsay, it was a privilege being with you, and I think it's absolutely tremendous that the Otago referees have decided to honour you in naming a trophy, the Lindsay McLachlan Trophy, which will be presented to the superior, the #1 referee in Otago for the season. A fitting tribute, I think, to a man who has given so much to refereeing in Otago, but more importantly also to the Otago referees, because you're honouring the past, you're honouring what Lindsay and all the others have done before you, but at the same time you're acknowledging that you've got to move forward. And the innovation that Otago has shown over a number of years is really standing you guys in good stead. To the recipient of today's first inaugural presentation of this cup, congratulations. And to all those who are going to follow in the years to come, I really hope that you get as much satisfaction out of it as I know Lindsay got from representing his province, and may it stead you well in the future. Thank you.
And the first referee under the spotlight on the Lions Tour of New Zealand is Lindsay McLachlan from Otago, the 36-year-old accountant. Resplendent in their new Air New Zealand regalia, the New Zealand referees.
There's a fire starting in my heart.
And there'll be a knock on there and a North Auckland ball to the first scrum of the game. Back in field, and now the race is on, and watch the referee know, 22 dropouts. Well, a chance for Troy going, and they try and drive it over the top, but they come in over the top in an illegal way. Peter Wright, the Scottish prop, on the bottom there, and it was he who was pinged by referee McLachlan. Now it's against North Auckland, and I suspect it was Eddie Jones diving in over the top. Well, there must be a bit of a breezy. Scrum on the tight head side. Jones to feed. Cronin taps, and he was lifted. There's been a bit of that going on. The player can't be touched till the top of the jump by Brian Moore. And offside against Ian Jones, who came in the wrong way. And it was on the blind side of Lindsay McLachlan, but it fell away. Reid lost control of it totally. Ben Clark driving, Clark getting close to the line, and no, held up. Just couldn't get it down. Taken off the back by Clark. Jones, and Clement getting close, and he's got it down. Tony Clement. So he knocks it on as Eddie Jones takes off. Now, I think Ian Jones had a point there. He's a bit annoyed. I think it was a Lions hand that knocked it back, rather than North Auckland player who knocked it forward. And he's not too happy. And that's the way the referee saw it, and so it's a stop. Channel back nicely enough, not out there for Jones, and offside.